Hello and welcome to another Warframe video. As promised to my subscribers, here's the video guide which shows you how to capture 12 Eidolons in one night. Specifically, I will be showing some tips here on how you can capture 4 Teralyst, 4 Gantulyst and 4 Hydrolyst in one night. But before anything else, I would like to say that some tips that you learn in this video came from other Warframe players. I did not make up all the strategies and tips here all by myself. But, rest assured I gave credit where credit is due, and you can check out the sources of these tips on the video description below. Okay, let's begin this video guide. First, let's discuss about team composition. Now in most Eidolon hunts, we usually run with Cromoz, Vault, Harrow and Trinity. And these Warframes usually lets you capture 12 Eidolons in one night. However, there are other Warframes that can be added to the team composition. There's Rhino, which you can see in this video. There's also Octavia for her damage buff. And there's also Oberon for that sweet radiation damage boost from his Smite Infusion Augment, and as well as survivability. But in this video, we will be focusing on Cromoz, Vault, Harrow and Trinity. Let's discuss about Cromoz Build and his role to the team first. I usually run with Cromoz in a team and this is the usual build I have for Eidolon hunting. It's a simple power, strength and duration build to boost your Vex armor, and help the team in dealing damage and surviving. Now, I added Stretch and Cunning Drift on my build because of the fact that Vex armor is now an aura. With these mods, you can attain 28+ meters of range for your Vex armor, which is sufficient for my team to get that buff from my abilities. Also, I did not bother to go with Primed Flow in this build as I usually can maintain my Vex armor with the help of some energy pads on my team, and with the Zenuric Regen, plus the Hunter Adrenaline mod I have on my build. In terms of his role, Cromoz is now the main damage buffer on the team. In the past, he usually gets all that one-shot kill, but with the recent update, Cromoz can't one-shot the Eidolons now. Which is why you need all the help you can get from your team, in taking out the limbs. Your main role is to give the team your Vex armor once the Eidolons' shields are down. To be more efficient, I really suggest that you have a self-damaging weapon on your arsenal. In my case now, I have the Serrata to do this task. Just be sure to mod your Serrata with Power Throw and Quick Return, plus some damage mods and toxin mods to get that self-damage you need. In my opinion, Serrata is one of the most efficient weapon to have for Cromoz in Eidolon hunting, as the toxin damage goes through his shield, giving you that fury buff within seconds. Best part is, you don't have to switch weapons. You just need to aim on the ground and hold your melee attack key to throw Serrata, and gain that huge damage boost from your Vex armor. Okay. Now, let's proceed with Vault. For my Vault, I usually run with a max duration build, coupled with some survivability mods like Vitality and Quick Thinking. I also have Hunter Adrenaline for this task, not just for energy restore, but also for survivability, because we all know that Hunter Adrenaline, or Rage, works perfect with Quick Thinking and then Primed Flow. If you want to go with Vault in an Eidolon hunt, then your main role is to support the team to deal more damage. More specifically, Vault's third ability, the Electric Shields, will help the team melt the Teralyst's shields in seconds. These shields does increase the team's critical damage by 200%, which is quite helpful to take down the Eidolons' shields. You may wonder how? Okay, let me explain. To be specific, Vault's shield is not the only thing you need to melt the Eidolons' shields in seconds. It's just a part of the key component. If you want to take down the shield fast, then I suggest that you upgrade your amp. I recommend that you use the Swak Prism, Shrux and Scaffold, and Law and Brace on your amp, as these parts are the most optimal parts. to melt the Teralyst shields in seconds. If you already own this amp, all you need now is two things. One is your team to have 4 Adazakavat present in this mission. And the other one is 3 of you should have the Madurai Focus School, and have the Void Strike tree active. The logic is, your Adazakavat, plus your Lore Embrace will give you the critical chance you need. While Void Strike will give your operator extra damage. Now, shoot your amp on Volt's electric shields, and it will give you additional critical damage. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the key to taking out the shields of the Teralyst, Gantulyst and Hydrolyst in seconds. Okay, I did not create this method on my own. I've learned this from a fellow YouTuber who posted this trick in Reddit. You can check out his work below, as I've included his channel and his post on the video description. Lastly, aside from the critical damage, Volt's electric shields does give your weapon electric damage, which is one of the weaknesses of the Eidolons. Now, stack 6 electric shields, and it will give you 300% more electric damage. Now that's a pretty insane boost in damage on top of Cromoz Vex armor. This is really enough to speedrun the Eidolons and make Volt a valuable asset to the team. The next Warframe is Harrow. For my Harrow, I usually build him for some duration and range, so that my Covenant will be efficient in the Eidolon hunt. There's not really much to talk with Harrow, as all the team needs on this Warframe is his 4th ability. Cast his Covenant when the Eidolons are releasing energy spikes, to gain invincibility frames, good for avoiding that magnetic damage, and energy drain. Another good thing about Harrow though is that he can boost the team's critical chance right after that invincibility period. My advice is, practice to time when you will cast your Covenant. Especially, when the Eidolons are almost out of shields, or you are at the final phase, wherein the Eidolons are down. The critical chance is really useful, so make good use of it. The last Warframe, and probably the most important in any Eidolon hunting team, is Trinity. For Trinity, all you need to do is build her, to focus on her 4th ability Bless. Give it some power, strength, duration, and you should always consider having some survivability. Just make sure that your Bless has that 100% restoration, and 75% damage reduction. Also, take Hunter Adrenaline, or Rage when going with Trinity. In fact, I strongly suggest that you incorporate Rage or Hunter Adrenaline in your build, no matter what Warframe you take in the Eidolon hunt. Not only for the survivability part, but it's really good to have that option to gain energy by yourself. Anyway, with all those attacks coming from the Eidolons, I'm pretty sure you'll be getting some energy back. Just don't die though. For Trinity's role, it's basically keeping the lures alive, and keeping the team alive. Basically, you need to spam your Bless ability as much as possible for that damage reduction and instant heal. Be wary of your environment, always keep an eye where your lures are, and where your teammates are. Now for some general tips. The Teralysts is pretty simple. Just take out the shield, then take out the limbs, and kill it fast. In fact, the 2 new Eidolons have the same mechanics. The only difference is, the Gantulyst and the Hydrolyst have 6 limbs that you should take out, after you destroy their shields. Also, they have new attacks that you should look out for, and we will discuss that later. But for now, let me give you a little tip that will help your overall efficiency. The very first thing you need to do is collect as many lures as you can. Make sure that you have at least 8 lures at the start, so you won't go running around after you take out an Eidolon. Take note that you need 2 lures to capture the Teralyst, 3 lures for the Gantulyst and 3 lures for the Hydrolyst. The next tip is, always take out the upper Cinova, or the limbs of the Eidolons once their shields are out. Do this if you don't want to have a really hard time later, as the Eidolons tend to go in a rampage, once they have 2 limbs left. If the Eidolons go on a rampage, it will be harder to snipe those upper limbs of the Eidolons. For weapons, do bring a heavy-hitting weapon perfect for the Eidolon hunt. In my case, I always use sniper rifles, and my favorite sniper for this mission is the Lanka. For the mods, always aim for crit chance, crit damage and lots of radiation damage. Lanka is really perfect for Eidolon hunting as it has an innate element, as its main source of damage. Also, the status chance, and as well as the crit chance is pretty high, perfect for a critical and status hybrid build. If you want, you can follow my Lanka build. However, if you are looking to do some insane damage on the Eidolons, then I suggest that you put a Riven mod on your sniper rifles. Preferably, Riven mods with damage, crit chance, crit damage, multi-shot, or any elemental damage which can be combined to create radiation, heat and electricity, will give you that insane damage you want to kill Eidolons really fast. Take these Riven mods for example. Now, let's take a few attacks that you should be careful while dealing with the Gantulyst. Well, basically, there's no dangerous attack for your team if your Harrow is good at timing his Covenant, your Trinity is great at healing, and your Cromoz is always in range to give you that armor bonus. And yes, you always have your operator to go in void mode to avoid all the attacks of the Eidolons. But to make you wary that the Gantulyst is still dangerous, be sure to look out for those lasers that comes from the sky as those really hurt. Also, be sure that your team are inside that large orange dome covering the area around it. When you're outside that big dome, you'll take damage and you can't hit the Gantulyst with any attacks. For a more specific description on the Gantulyst attacks, I suggest that you go to the Warframe wiki to know all about these new Eidolons. I will just post the link on the video description in case you want to find out more about these new Eidolons. In the Hydrolyst fight, it's basically chaos. I mean, this Eidolon will throw lightning always at you, will drain your energy when he is casting those EMP pulses, and will try to wipe you all out with all his other attacks. But the most annoying part in this stage are those Vomvalist blooms, or those purple portal-like things that the Hydrolyst put on the ground. Destroy them as quick as possible as these things will make the Vomvalist invincible, making the fight hard for your team, especially when the Vomvalists are healing the Hydrolyst. With all these tips I've showed you here in this video, I still can't guarantee that you can capture 12 Eidolon in one night. Well, you can't if you don't follow the last tip, and probably the most important one. And that is team coordination. This is basically the most important tip that I can give you. You really can't do a speed run if one member don't cooperate on your team, or bring some weak equipments, or even Warframes not suited for the Eidolon fight. My advice is, know your role in this mission, better yet, play with your friends so you can coordinate better, get all those loot and enjoy the Eidolon hunt. However, I do hope that this video will reach out Warframe players so they can have a basic knowledge on what to bring, and what to do in capturing the Teralyst, Gantulyst and the Hydrolyst. So that's it guys, hope that you find this video informative. Be sure to tune into my channel as I'll be doing some more Eidolon hunting videos in the future. Now, I'm planning to do more Eidolon hunting videos in the future, like a solo run, and a 4 Oberon capture, so be sure to watch out for it. Oh yes, I am looking for some players to play with me for this 4 Oberon capture. If you want to play with me and somehow be featured in this channel, then add me up in-game. My in-game name is displayed on the screen. Before you leave, please do me a favor and hit that like button if you enjoy watching this video, and, for those first timers visiting my channel, then don't hesitate to hit that big red button below, and join my notification squad if you want to see more Warframe videos from me in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and see you on my next video.